but I always start on TikTok a little bit earlier. Well, not that much earlier, just a little bit. And we're on. We are on, ladies and gentlemen. Guys, listen. Urgent warning, Christians and Jews have been targeted in the United Kingdom, across Europe. Right, I need to caveat this video before I start. What I'm working on right now is articles that were published in the mainstream media. So the title, what I've got written down now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going, and it's bad enough. What I'm going from now is there have been a lot of mainstream media articles published today online with the headlines, Christians and Jews targeted by Islamic State, ISIS, otherwise Islamic State of Iraq and Syria. So that is what we're going to be talking about today, guys. All right, I'm going to give you the headlines right now. In fact, those didn't load up. Give me a second. I'm going to give you the headlines. I will also tell you what the news article is called. So if anybody wants to call me out and say, oh, Sean, you're spreading fake news. No, I'm not spreading fake news. I'm repeating and commentating on what's already released. So I do need to be very clear at that, guys, okay? I need to be very clear at that. So right now, guys, from an article from the Telegraph, sorry, the Express. Oh, that's not what I clicked. Okay, this is, I mean, I don't know why this has come on. Right, this is more crazy. I've just clicked on something that I thought was something else, and it says exclusive. Right, right, guys, I'm just going to go with this. This is not what I thought the article said, but the article's changed. The article that's just been released, World War III before Christmas. Russia's bombshell grey zone invasion plan revealed by defector. Exclusive. The warning from a top Russian general has triggered urgent decisions in the UK and US about the risk of and I'm not going to click that. What I am going to click, though, is this one here. So now, look, guys, I'm about to read this now. If the live stream gets cut off on TikTok, then I am triple streaming. I'm on YouTube. I'm on X. They won't cut me off for reading what's already on mainstream media right now. They won't do that. So I'm reading now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to read you guys an article, all right? And the the title of the article is ISIS calls for shoot, stab, ram attacks on Christians and Jews in the UK. Now that's the article. I'm not going to give comment. I'm just going to read the article, and then I'll come on to a monologue in a minute, guys. All right. So this is the article. I've not read the article yet. Islamic State has issued a fresh call for terror attacks across Britain, the United States, and Europe and beyond, urging followers to target Christians and Jews in what it calls revenge for Israel's ongoing offensive in Gaza. Really? I've got nothing to do with the offensive in Gaza. I've got nothing to do with that. You know, kids at school, you know, kids that are at school, they've got nothing to do with that. So, look, guys, I do apologize. I am going to continue reading this, guys. I'll get the questions, I'll get the comments, and then I'll come on to my opening monologue. Guys, listen, I am going to be talking about some very particular subjects today. So if the TikTok feed goes down, I will continue this live stream. I'm triple streaming, so we will still be streaming on YouTube and X. In an online post titled "O Zealot Monotheists," I don't know what that means, guys. I really don't. But in this online post, "O Zealous Monotheist," ISIS spokesman, remember, ladies and gentlemen, I'm reading this right now. This is not my speculation. This is not my opinion. This is not my analysis. I am reading this right now, okay? I'm reading this. ISIS spokesman Abu Hudhaifa, oh God, there's more names. Abu Hudhaifa al-Ansari. Why can't they just have simple names? But okay. I'm just going to call him Abu, all right? Abu. Here's the thing, guys, right? If you like, just listen to this, guys, right? So he told supporters of Islamic State, chase your prey in the streets, on the roads of America, of Europe, around the world. Break into their homes. Transcend them to beams of light. Punish them by any means you can. And I could argue that the current Home Secretary in the United Kingdom is punishing Britons for this. The statement, I'm reading again now, guys. The statement circulated on extremist channels detailing methods including bombings, shootings, stabbings, and vehicle attacks, saying militants should protect their plan and diversify their operations to avenge Muslims in Palestine, Iraq, Syria, and all Muslim lands. So that's what that's what this article is saying, guys. I'm not saying this. If you're watching on YouTube, I will put the article in. Guys, listen, if you're watching on YouTube later on, I'll link this article in the description below so you guys can read it yourselves. It gets better, guys. It gets better. The call comes as Israeli ground forces intensify their assault on Gaza City, where hundreds of thousands of civilians remain trapped and severe shortages of food, meds, and medicine. Israel launched the operation after the 7th of October 2023 Hamas attack. I said it right there, didn't I? Hamas attack, which transcended around 1,200 people into beams of light and saw more than 250 taken hostage. Now, I'm not speculating there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just reading that from the internet. You guys want to think it's fake news? Fine. You guys want to think I'm just making it up? Fine. But I'll just give you the bullet points there, guys. All right. So, Islamic State has offered a fresh call for attacks on Britain, United States, Europe, and beyond, targeting Christians and Jews. This is an article titled, in a message titled, "O Zealous Monotheists." I don't know what that means, guys. By the spokesman, Abu Hudhaifa al-Ansari. And he's saying, chase your prey in the streets, on the roads, in Europe, around the world, break into their homes, punish them by any means you can. And they are calling for shoot, stab, ram. That's not me, guys. That is not me saying that. That is what this article is saying. I'm going to come on to the question. I'm going to come on to some comments now, guys. But before we start, can you do me a real big favor? Do all those things that help this channel grow. The like, comment, subscribe, bell notification, whatever you can do, guys, to help this channel grow. Because ultimately, it's only your fine fingers that help this channel grow. I'm going to come on to YouTube first, actually, because I do TikTok in the mornings. From now, it's saying, hi, everyone. I just found out that if there's something going on in Gaza, why is the population of Palestine rising? More Palestinian lies. I mean, I wouldn't know about the population of Palestine. What I do know, though, is what I can see with my eyes. And they're saying there's a famine. They're saying there's like masses of... Look, guys, let me be quite clear. All right, I want to be quite clear. I don't know what the real life situation on the ground is, but I know what I can see with my eyes. If there is a famine in Gaza, why are there these big, well-fed men distributing food and distributing stuff? Why are we seeing images of really big, well-fed men? It's either A, because there's no famine, or B, because those well-fed men are stealing all the food from the children. Now, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, but your eyes don't lie. And this is one of the things what I say quite regular. Don't look what people are saying. Look what the pictures are showing you. You can't, I mean, you know, actually, you can now with artificial intelligence, but like when you're looking at these pictures and you're being told there's a famine and there's big men walking around, I'm not saying there's not a famine. What I'm saying is, if there is a famine, how come there's these big men walking around? Are they not? They're either stealing food of people who are genuinely like struggling, or there's no famine. I don't know what other options it can be. Claire Price, you just said Sean and exclamation marks. What? Yes, Claire. What does Claire want? Oh, I don't know, Lisa. Okay. Right, guys. How am I on YouTube? Guys, am I breaking up on YouTube? Is it a bad connection on YouTube, or is it just for some people? Philip Gray is saying, this is mad. How many fighting age males have come across the channel? Something is coming. I can feel it. We need to be extremely vigilant. Yeah, I am going to come on to this and get all these points in a second. Okay. Okay, so some people I'm fine. Some people I'm glitchy. Right, ladies and gentlemen, this happens. It happens sometimes for whatever reason. I'm glitching today. I can't think what the reason might be. We've got pretty bad weather today, so, and I'm going from the, right, okay, so the link is pretty bad on everything. Right, okay, so the link's bad everywhere. Right, okay, so the internet is bad everywhere. Right, I tell you what I'm going to do, guys. I will continue with my opening monologue. Just for context, all the when I record these videos, they will all be uploaded in 4K. Audrey is saying TikTok is fine, so let me pin this. Audrey is saying TikTok is fine. Look, guys, if you're watching this later on YouTube, then everything will be fine because it will upload in 4K. But let me continue. So, where are we? Okay, Jenny May is saying it's perfect on TikTok. Right, it does look. I think okay. So I think we're good on TikTok. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let me give context now. Islamic State, and I'm not making this up. Islamic State has called for violence against Christians and Jews in Europe and America. I am not making that up. That is a call now. That's, you can, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll put the links in the description. Urging their followers to carry out lone wolf attacks using methods like shoot, stab, ram. This rhetoric is often disseminated through platforms like, online platforms, I guess. This is why they're talking about the online safety bill, which is encouraging supporters to target people, chase them to their homes, and punish Jews and Christians for what's happening in Gaza. Let me be quite clear, all right? I have got absolutely zero input in what happens in Gaza. None. Let me just say this to the Muslim community as well. If the Muslim community go and do the worst things possible to whatever they can, so they target, like, I'm not even going to say what they would target, but let's just say that the Muslim community do that. How do you think that that's not going to help them at all? Because people are just going to become more unified and, more unified against them. These implications are absolutely severe, guys. Like, I don't know why this is not pinned all over the mainstream media right now. security risks for Jewish Christian communities. You can't say that it's not increased now, because there is an actual threat of violence against all Christians, against all Jews in the United Kingdom, in Europe, and in America. And the Islamic State are calling for their followers to rise up, commit lone wolf attacks, shoot, stab, ram. That's what they're calling for now, guys. I'm not saying this. I'm not. This is not my speculation. This is what has actually happened. So over the past year, I mean, let's not forget, guys, Islamic State's not gone anywhere. Over the last year, Islamic State, Iraq and Syria have been ramping up their rhetoric, urging these so-called lone wolf attacks. Again, today, ladies and gentlemen, today they are calling for Islamic State followers to target Christian and Jewish communities across Europe, America, and the world. Now, this was in a statement this month. What's his name? I can't remember his name, Abu something. He issued this warning, and it was called, I can't remember what it was called, like, Zealots, it was called Zealots or Monolithics. So I can't remember what it's called. I was reading it before. It was a big word. But he's basically calling for attacks on Christians and Jews. That's what he's calling for. I'm not making this up. They're calling for the shooting, the stabbing, the ramming. That's the directive. That's what they're telling people to do. Is there, just for context, is there any Christian or Jewish entities that are calling for similar stuff in the Middle East? I don't think there is. I don't think there is. But this is where we are right now, guys. We are going to be sat there, and there's going to be things happening down at the bottom of the street, and you're going to phone the police up, and the police are going to say, oh, yeah, I know it's happening, but we can't get any police there at the moment. And you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, they're at number 4. It's happening. It's really bad now. What advice do you give to me? Oh, stay in your house and lock your doors. Yeah, they're smashing through the doors. Can we fight them back? Oh, no, you're not allowed to fight them back. That would be, that's where we are right now. People are going to be too scared. And again, I talk about this time and time again. Here in the United Kingdom, we have no legal framework to protect ourselves. None. We can't protect ourselves from bad guys because we get done. We get sent to prison. We can't protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. We have no legal framework. We need a constitution in the United Kingdom that lays out foundations that we can protect ourselves. Legal framework where we can protect ourselves, because we have nothing right now, ladies and gentlemen. And I do think this, well, you know what? It's not me thinking this is coming. This is Islamic State now calling. It's not me, mate. I'm not coming out here and making this up, guys. This is mainstream media now. Now, we've got to understand, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just talk. Islamic State, they have a big history of a big history of inspiring these types of attacks. If you guys can remember, what was it? Was it last year? I think it was the Moscow concert hall. I think it was last year or the year before. So basically, I don't know if you guys know this. There was a massive incident in, I think it was Moscow, yeah. There was a concert hall in Moscow, Islamic State inspired attack. I think over 140 people lost their lives. They've also pointed to smaller scale incidents, which is what for me, the real threat here is these smaller incidents. These smaller incidents where a few people get together with some sharp pointed things or a car and they just go crackers. Guys, how bad is the connection on YouTube? How bad is the connection on TikTok, guys? Right, I'm lagging on YouTube. What am I like on? I'm good on TikTok. Right, okay, I'm good on TikTok. Right, okay. Look, guys, when this gets uploaded to YouTube, okay, so TikTok's good, YouTube's bad. Well, okay, when this gets uploaded to YouTube, it will all be in 4K. The software I'm using will buffer it. So, guys, listen, it does look like the signal is better on YouTube, on TikTok. Let me continue. So, yeah, so we know about that. 140 people in, I think it was 140 people in Russia. We've had other incidents in France, in like all over Europe, all over the United Kingdom. We keep getting these lone wolf. Like, if they keep happening, are they a lone wolf attack? So I would speculate that there are encrypted channels right now, and I don't know what they are. I'm sure there's encrypted apps, and they are going bonkers right now with calls and messages from people to commit these acts of violence. And this will all be coming back from I mean, I can't really call it a war, but this will all be coming from what's happening in Gaza. It is. So what's behind this? First of all, we can try and understand what's happening with ISIS with Western eyes. We just won't understand it. You won't. I don't understand it. I've lived in the Middle East for 5 years. They want chaos. They want carnage. I don't really think they understand what they want themselves. But what we know from articles in the mainstream media is they're calling for attacks on Christians and Jews. They're not just, they're not saying we're going to attack this person. They want to cause that massive, what's the word I'm looking for? Collateral damage, where they're having these spectacular attacks. Now, people do need to think critically. While the rhetoric behind Islamic State, it is terrifying. If you've watched my previous videos on run, hide, fight, how to avoid those situations, you will be in a, you're going to be in a better place to, navigate those things. Like, let's just think of Irena Zarutska. Irena Zarutska did not see the threat. She didn't see the threat. Somebody put it on the TikTok chat. People need to be vigilant, okay? What I mean by vigilant is if somebody sat behind you and you think they're a bit dodgy, then they're probably going to be a bit dodgy. Go with your instincts. So think about Irena Zarutska, the Ukrainian girl on the train in America. Think about Irena. Can you imagine if she'd have just stood up and walked away? Walked to the other side of the train or ran? And people were saying to me, she had nowhere to run. There wasn't a threat. There was no threat around her. Absolutely fine. If you think there's no threat around you, fine. But I can guarantee that everywhere you go, there's a threat. Everywhere you go, there's a threat. And that's the reality now of the world we live in. Right, let me jump up and get some comments. Freddie on YouTube is saying everyone is beefing at Heathrow Airport. It's so funny but sad. I don't know what they're talking. I don't know what's happening on. I have no idea what's happening at Heathrow Airport. Is that because they've? Is that because the airport's closed down? I don't know. Legality is saying in the UK the hate crime against Jews grew 400% in the last year alone. I don't know how this is calculated, silly, but I would speculate that is aimed at. I would say that is being instigated by certain demographic in the communities. Lisa is saying, I dare say what my daughter has in every room. All I can say, she likes DIY. Right? I'm not going to leave that. Maybe she should get a boyfriend, or I don't know what's going on here, Lisa. We're just going to leave it there. Sharon Owen is saying you are given a third eye for a reason. I don't know what that's in respect to. I don't know what that's in respect to. You're given a... Oh, okay, right. Okay, so Sharon Owen on TikTok is saying you're given a third eye for a reason, which I think is in respect to, like, if you think something's off, it probably is. And I'm talking here to everybody. I'm focusing this on young girls, young ladies. If you're in a situation and you think you're not safe, then you're not. Get out of that situation. Don't worry. Don't worry about if, like, I don't know, you might offend somebody, or someone might think you're being, I don't know, if somebody, get out of that situation. If you're a young girl and you find yourself in a scenario, in a situation, and you're looking around and you think, oh God, I don't like this, run. Get out of there. Run, scream, get out of there as quickly as you can. Don't put yourself in that situation like Irena Zarutska did. So time to rise is saying have something to defend yourself with. So look, guys, I'm going to go on to this now because a lot of people always ask me these questions about, like, we don't have the legal framework to defend here in the United Kingdom. We do not have any legal framework to defend ourselves. We don't. It's illegal in the United Kingdom to carry a weapon. It's 100% illegal. Now, I'm going to say, from years and years and years of experience, working in some of the most hostile, working in the most hostile environments on the planet, if you need to avoid the situations. It's better for everyone, all right? Avoid those situations. So I never had to use my when I was working as a security operator for the British Embassy, I never had to use my long thing that stuff comes out at the end. Now, that was down to good planning. Don't put yourselves in that situation where you have to use those things. And my advice to everyone is run. Run, run, run. If you're on your own, there's nothing you can do. Don't lull yourself into a false sense of security that you can take on a mob of rabid, I guess, dogs. Oh, that'd be a bit brutal to dogs, actually. Like, if anybody's ever seen a mob, if anybody's ever seen, like, a mob of angry people that they're all crazy, and I've seen this in the Middle East a few times, there's nothing you can do. It doesn't matter what you're armed with. If you're on your own, you're done for. You need to get out of that situation as quickly as possible, and that means running, getting in a car, and driving really quickly. Time to rise is saying you can't run if you've got little people to protect. So then we come back onto the initial concept. Don't put yourself in that situation when you've got little children there. Most people that are wanting to cause harm, they're looking for the easy targets. All right. My advice to anyone, ladies and gentlemen, is run. Run, run, run. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, guys, what's the signal like on YouTube? Is it still pretty bad? Chris White is saying what? So just stay in from now on. All right, okay, right. Okay, Chris. No, I'm not saying staying from now on. What I'm saying is, if you're going out and you're going into a supermarket and there's a load of people there wearing clothes that you don't feel comfortable with, walk away. Or if you want to go and get your milk and your eggs, fine. You accept that risk of what may or may not happen. I'll give you another example. It's slightly off topic, but you understand where I'm going. So back in 2020, when all the craziness was happening, you know, when you had to queue outside shops and stay 6 feet apart and you was only allowed 2 people in the shop or something, I went to the local shop for some milk or something, and there was a guy outside the shop and he had his mask on. He had like the mask, then he had the face mask, he had gloves on as well. And he was waiting. He was like, I think it was behind me. And when I was about to go in, I said, "What?" He said, "Don't touch the door with your hand." I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, have you got any antiseptic to clean it?" I said, "Shut up, mate." So I walked in. Now, he was obviously, his risk analysis was high. He was really worried about the threat and the risk. I clearly wasn't. But what I'm getting at here is, if he's that worried and that scared that he has to have the face mask, the gloves, and he's telling people to put antiseptic on door handles. Do you know what he bought when he got in? He bought a morning newspaper. So on one hand, he's thinking right now, right, okay, worst thing possible could happen to me right now. It could be absolutely apocalyptic. I could get infected. I could go back, infect my wife, my kids. We're all, but I'm still going to go out and get that paper. So he's risking his family's safety because he wanted a newspaper. So what I'm getting at here is, guys, everybody needs to do their own. Everybody needs to do their own risk assessments. All right. If you think things are dangerous and it's too dangerous to go out, don't go out. If you think things are okay, go out. But if you see things building up, if you see 4 or 5 men walking into the store aggressively, get out, leave your shopping. Is it really worth is it really worth your baguettes and your discounted meat? Get out, and again, it comes down to vigilance, and, threat analysis. Right, ladies and gentlemen. Right, guys. What's the chat? What's the chat like on? What's the chat like on YouTube? Am I still buffering and being dodgy on YouTube? It's getting better, right? Okay, still a bit glitchy, but getting better. Not bad, right? Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining for the first time, there has been a chilling warning issued to Christians, Jews in Europe, in America, and in the United Kingdom right now. That's been issued. I'm not making this up. This has been issued. It's out on the mainstream media. Now, that threat from Islamic State is to shoot, stab, and ram Christians and Jews. I'm not making that up, guys. That's on the mainstream media. That is what they're calling for right now. That's what I mean. I don't know. Is that the religion of peace? Also, are they peaceful? Are they peaceful? Are they going to do it peacefully? Now, we need to put this in context in the United Kingdom. So today, ladies and gentlemen, okay, I'm going to read you this from Sky News. If you guys think it's fake news, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to read you this from Sky News. Today, 20th of September. Sorry, I was laughing to my dad about. Guys, I fell off the roof earlier. I fell off the roof. I've cut my leg to shreds. Can you hear the rain? I'm having to talk over the rain. So today, ladies and gentlemen, in the United Kingdom, more than 1,000 migrants arrived in small boats, despite the returns deal with France. So let's just consider this now. 13 boats arrived today, averaging more than 82 people on each boat. Predominantly, what religion are those people? I don't know, guys. I've got no answer to this. I don't know. I'm just asking what religion are those, predominantly, what religion are those people who come over on the boats? I don't know this, guys. I'm wondering if there's any, if we can connect the dots anywhere here. So the latest figures show that 1,072 people made the journey in 13 boats today. That's today, guys. So now let's look what the government are saying. We've got Shabina Mahmood, and she's saying, she's doing videos saying, we got this, we're in control. She's like, yeah, come to the United Kingdom. We're going to send one person back every day. Hashtag in control. Hashtag deportation. Meanwhile, 1,000 people today arrived. So that would take, 4 years to get rid of those? So it's going to take 4 years to get rid of the people that got here today. No, sorry, 3 years. 3 years. Call it 3 years for argument's sake. Now, I don't know who's doing this maths. It doesn't, to me, seem like this is a mathematical genius. And let's not forget, ladies and gentlemen, the one in, one out scheme. What that actually means is, for every one migrant we send back, we're going to bring one migrant from France. So we're not actually reducing the numbers that we've got. It's so absurd. It's actually funny. So I'm going to read you this now, guys. More than 1,000 people crossed the channel to the UK in small boats today after the first migrant was deported under the one in, one out deal. The latest Home Office figures show that 1,072 people made the journey in 13 boats. On the same day, an Iranian man became the third migrant to be deported under the deal with France. The total number of people who've made the crossing so far in 2025 now stands at 32,103, a new record for this point of the year. So here we have, this year alone, not last year, not the year before, forget all of that, 32,103 people have come over this year. And we've sent 3 back. We've deported 3. I don't know, guys. Those maths are not adding up to me. The maths are not adding up to me. Ministers said the deal will act as a deterrent, showing migrants they face being sent back to France. Is that embarrassing? Is anyone else embarrassed? Is anyone else embarrassed, or is it just me? But the scale of the most recent crossings suggested the policy was so far having little to no effect on those prepared to make the risky crossing across the channel. It goes on. It goes on. I'm not going to read the rest of it. The numbers speak for themselves, ladies and gentlemen. So my question to you is this. My question to you guys is this. What predominantly, what religion are those people coming over? You know what? I'm gonna ask the internet this. Can you hear that rain? Right. So I've just asked AI. So I've just asked AI in percentage, what is the religious breakup of small boat migrants? Right, there's no specific data on it. There is no specific data on the religious makeup of small boat migrants because official records generally do not track religion for migrants. Right, okay, so we've got no data on that. What else do I? Well, I need to ask another question then, don't I? Right, okay. What is the most, right, okay. Okay, so I've asked now, right, okay, so I've asked AI now, what is the most common country for small boat migrants to come from? The most common countries of origin for small boat migrants vary, but recent data for the UK indicates that Afghans have been a predominant nationality among small boat arrivals. Also, Iranians, Iraqis, and Syrians. Okay, so we've got 4 countries there. We've got 4 countries, all right? Now I'm, Afghan is a Muslim country. Iran is a Muslim country. Iraq is a Muslim country. And Syria is a Muslim country. They're the facts, ladies and gentlemen. They're the facts. I'm not saying either way what that means. I'm just saying they're the facts. So that brings us back now to my initial, right back to the beginning of this live stream. Islamic State call, and guys, I'm not making this up. This is out in the mainstream media right now. Islamic State call for shoot, stab, and ram attacks on Christians and Jews in the United Kingdom. I haven't done anything. I am reading this, guys. I read it before. I'm going to read it again because it is key to understand what's happening right now in the UK. Remember what Elon Musk said? Can you guys remember what Elon Musk said? And again, this is not me saying it. Violence will be upon you. You either fight or die. I didn't say that, guys. Whether you think that Elon Musk's right or wrong, I'm slopey shoulders in that statement. And I'm just saying that's what Elon Musk said. So let me continue. Islamic State has called for, Islamic State has issued a fresh call for attacks across Britain, the United States, Europe, and beyond, urging followers to target Christians and Jews, in what they call revenge attacks for Israel's ongoing offensive in Gaza. In an online message titled, and you guys can Google this if you want. If you guys want to Google this right now, you can check this out yourselves. O zealous monotheist, ISIS spokesman Abu Hudhaifa al-Ansari, they have such long names, don't they? Told supporters to chase your. So this is what they're telling people to do. This is what they're telling their supporters to do. Place your prey in the streets, the roads of precious America, Europe, and the world. Break into their homes. I'm not saying this, that I'm reading. Break into their homes. Transcend them to beams of light. Punish them by any means you can. That's what they're calling for right now. I'm not saying anything, guys. I'm just saying that's what they're calling for. The statement circulated on extremist channels detailed methods including bombing, shooting, stabbings, and vehicle attacks, saying militants should perfect their plans and diversify their operations to avenge Muslims in Palestine, Iraq, Syria, and all Muslim lands. Like even Saudi Arabia. Like what? Like it's like all Muslim like Saudi Arabia. What? I mean, I thought they liked it in Saudi Arabia. Are they just angry everywhere? Like, I'm sure it said somewhere they were talking about lone wolf attacks. I'm pretty sure somewhere it was talking about lone wolf attacks. Sean McKay on TikTok is saying so many people are clueless about what's going on. They are, mate. So many people really are. I mean, it's fascinating. I was speaking to my friend earlier. He's got no idea what's happening. All he does is, you know, he goes to the pub on a Friday, he gets drunk, and then he watches BBC. ALB is saying, delete all your Uber Eats and Deliveroo apps. Wow, yeah, you know what? I didn't even think of that. I didn't. Wow. Look, guys, this is me speculating now from what ALB just said. ALB. I hope I'm saying that right. ALB. Okay. Let's just be okay. So what I'm going to say now, ladies and gentlemen, is for entertainment purposes. It's a conspiracy. It's not real. Okay, it's not real. What I'm going to say is a total conspiracy now. Taxi drivers, Uber drivers, Uber Eats, Deliveroo, all these companies that you click and you let people know where you live. If you're a woman living on her own with children and you're ordering pizza every night, who's delivering that pizza? That's all I'm going to leave. I'm going to leave it with there, guys. You guys can put your, you guys can put your own imagination on that. But, who's delivering that pizza and what are they thinking? Google it is saying ban Antifa. Yeah, anti-fascist. It is phenomenal. You know, it is phenomenal how it is phenomenal how straight away everybody knew that Antifa wasn't anti-fascist. We all knew that Antifa were the trouble causers. Everybody from day one, people, that rain is crackers. Everybody knew from day one that Antifa were not like what we've been sold. Now they're like, you know, now everybody's jumping on board on that. Politicians and people. What I was getting at there is if you have like a name saying anti-fascist, people will leave you alone. So if you have if you have an organization saying, I don't know, Islamic Love Group, or something, or something. You know, it's very easy to trick people. Basically, the Antifa model is fantastic. You know, Antifa, no, we're against fascists, we're anti-fascist. Who could argue with that? Who could argue? Who could argue against somebody who wants to stand up to fascism? Who could argue with that? But then when you look what they're doing, Lisu is saying, blimey, Sean, it's torrential there. Yeah, it is, Lisu. I was on the roof earlier. I was on the roof with my dad. I don't know if you get that. My dad was at the bottom. We needed to put some waterproof membrane on like that side of the extension. So I was on the top. I had to go down to get the scissors because I forgot them because I needed to cut the membrane at the top. I slid all the way down and I put massive gashes in my leg. I was in quite a bit of pain. I thought I was going to fly off the roof and potentially unalive myself. Time to Rise is saying Keir Starmer needs to do something now or the people will rise up. We want to live in peace, all of us. I think you're right. No, you are right. You know, there's no denying that. But I don't think they are going to do anything. I think the signs have been there a long time. I'm not convinced now. What I think will happen is we will move into an isolated, not isolated, into a more people will move into a more targeted, rather than having these. Okay, I said this before the protest, and I'm saying it again afterwards. This big protest in London, what did it change? Yeah, answers in the chat, guys. This big protest that was last Saturday, the big protest that was in London, what did it change? Have the government decided to put the Navy on the border? Have the government decided to change their policy? No. The one thing I will say it has done is it's given people a united front. But, you know, it's not actually changed anything. Rasta Bob is saying, excuse me, oh goodness. Rasta Bob is saying that's how they will find who's vulnerable targets using the apps. Yeah. And look, ladies and gentlemen, like I only just thought about this now because like we can't get a delivery to our house. It's it's impossible to get any delivery, any food delivered to our house. We live in it's so difficult to find our house. Even if I'm on the phone talking to someone, telling them exactly where I live, like they'll drive past it 4 or 5 times. So we don't get food delivered here. So it wasn't something that was in the front of my mind because we don't use that sort of stuff. But, you know, if you're a single woman and you order kebabs or pizza at a weekend, who is that delivery driver? That's all I'm saying. Who is that delivery driver? And what else? Who is that delivery driver? Who is delivering your food? You know, that's all I'm going to say with that. Emma Jane Taylor is saying the Raven team needs to come and stay with you. You wouldn't find my house, Emma Jane. It's so hard to find. And I did choose it for that reason. You know, when we was looking for a house, like 15 years ago, whatever, I was looking for a house that I could defend. That's what I was looking for. I wanted a house that I could defend. Louise Webb says, my friend was banned from a pub. Hang on, let me do this. My friend was banned from a pub as she had a Union flag in her bag. Oh, that's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, just don't go to that pub again. Look, unfortunately, pubs are allowed to ban whoever they want. Likewise, you don't have to spend your money there. Sean McKay is saying, Sean, Sid Adams is saying bullshit. Right, where is it? Where's that? Let me find him. Let me find him. I can't find Sid. Where's Sid Adams? Oh, there we are. Right, Sid. Okay. Right, okay. So Sid Adams is saying, stop falling for the propaganda. I'm Muslim. We don't want nothing. Okay, so Sid Adams is saying we don't want nothing, which means he wants something. That's what I'm getting from that. So look, Sid, I've spent time in the Middle East, and I can't be very colourful with my words while I'm on TikTok because I'll just get the live stream banned. I've spent a lot of time in the Middle East. I grew up in Rotherham. I can tell I would have a very different opinion to yourself. Right, Sid Adams is saying talk. Like, yeah, I mean, try putting that into a sentence. Sid, with respect, mate, just put that into a sentence. Are you talk is the best? Are you saying talk is the best? Is the best way to is the best network, and you can. I don't know. I don't know. hang on. Right. So Moldy Tangerine is saying refugees welcome. Look, Moldy Tangerine, I agree with you as well. I agree with you. Refugees are welcome. As far as I'm concerned, refugees are welcome. People who are fleeing war, people who are fleeing persecution, I think they're all welcome. You know, and racists out. I 100% agree with you, Moldy Tangerine. But Moldy Tangerine, can you just let me know, what do you mean by refugee? And what do you mean by a racist? Because if we're talking about the thousands of undocumented men that are coming over from France, then there is no definition that defines them as refugees. So I know you can't be talking about them because I know you're an educated person. And if we're talking about racists out, I agree 100% racists are out. You know, so I'd like to see your. I want to know what you mean, moldy. What was it? Moldy Tangerine, I think. Right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump over to YouTube. I'll give Moldy Tangerine a couple of. I'll give Moldy Tangerine a little bit of time to respond. If he's going to respond, I don't know if he's going to respond. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the crux of this live stream was there's an urgent warning right now to Christians and Jews in Europe. There's an urgent warning. Sorry, guys, we're looking at the chat. There's an urgent warning right now. Christians and Jews in Europe, the Islamic State has warned. They're saying, chase your prey in the streets, chase your prey in the roads, follow them into their homes, do whatever you can. That's what they're saying to do. I'm not making this up. I'm telling you that's what's out on the mainstream. They're saying bomb, shoot, stab, ram. That's what they are saying. That's what they're telling people to do. Daniel Payne, where did you hear this? I'll actually give you the name of it now. Daniel Payne, what I will do is, when this video has been uploaded to YouTube. Oh, hang on a minute. Right, I'm going to pin that and I'll come back to it. Right, Daniel Payne, if you go and Google zealous monotheists, that's the article that was released by Islamic State. Now, Amanda Bullen has just said the government has raised the terror. Oh, has our government? Right, okay. Not that I know of, but let me just check this for you. No, it's not. It's not going to predominantly terror alert states, they only go up after an incident, as strange as that sounds. Right, Moldy Tangerine. Right, he's not answered. Right, Moldy Tangerine. With respect, I'm going now, but Moldy Tangerine, I did ask. So Moldy Tangerine, I did ask, what do you mean by a refugee? Like, what do you mean? Like, what do we mean by a refugee? Do we just mean anyone? Do we just mean anyone can come? Is everyone a refugee now? Or do you actually, babe, I wasn't here? Okay, right. Well, Moldy Tangerine, that's not my problem. I am going to close this down now. If you want to continue this chat, go over to YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. I will be continuing this chat over on YouTube. So I hope to join you there, ladies and gentlemen. And if I don't see you there over on YouTube, then I will see you in the morning. At what time will be on? I'll be on in the morning at 10. I'll see you later. And we are done. We are done. We are done. We are done. The rain is pouring down. Right, let me go and check something, because in that corner, I usually get a little bit of a leak. I think I may have fixed the leak, but give me a second. So far, so good on the league, ladies and gentlemen. So far, so good on the league. Hang on. Do I need to press any buttons? No, I don't. Just quickly, you know, with this refugees welcome thing, I genuinely, you know, even like in my own life, I am like 100%, you know, if we can, we should take refugees. But the problem we have now in the UK, we can't take any refugees because we've got illegal migrants here. So we are not able to take our fair share of real refugees who really want to come to the United Kingdom, who really need help, who are really vulnerable in some of the worst places in the world. We can't take them because we're taking fighting age men. That's the reality. You know, so refugees, let me just get a definition of a refugee. I am going to suspect that this has changed. Yeah. So a refugee is a person who has been forced to leave their country in order to escape war, persecution, or natural disaster. Now, I think it's the 1951 UN refugee regulation or something, which says that you've got, if you're a refugee, you go to a bordering country, and that's where you claim refugee. That's where you claim to be a refugee. So there's no you know, from my understanding at least, there is no there is no definition of refugee that fits these men coming over to the United Kingdom on boats. There just isn't a definition. I mean, we can lie and make something up, and that's fine. You know, if we want to lie and make stuff up, whatever, do that. But there is no definition of refugee that fits the people coming over to the United Kingdom on small boats. And let's not forget, it's not just the small boats. We have people that come here on student visas and they don't leave. So in that context, refugees welcome. Yes, I agree. You know, women and children fleeing Ukraine because all the men have to stay behind and fight. Absolutely. And when we talk about being racist, like, what about the people who are attacking white girls? Like, are we saying that they can't go? Are we saying, like, is that who we're saying are the racists? I mean, do we see gangs of white men roaming the streets targeting? I'm not even going to say because it feels distasteful. Templar Matt is saying no one is forcing these people to leave their country. They leave of their own choice. There's no force involved. Yeah. Tracy is saying, honestly, guys, it happened. May God. Okay, I think I'm jumping in the middle of a conversation here. Cheeky Chops is saying, I've been terrified for years about what ISIS said around 12 years ago. The people's hair will turn white with fear. It's a ticking time, Kabuma. I'm afraid nothing can be done now. Yeah, it does to me feel like it is as well. It feels like it's a ticking time bomb. And the more people that are allowed to come into the, I mean, there could be an argument to say that maybe right now they just want to get more and more people into the UK, and then they're going to uprise. Because why have an uprising with 1 million people when you can have an uprising with 2 million people? Lisa Jane is saying, I don't think social media helps with the hotels given to these people. I don't think it helps either. You see, I often think about this, and like on one part of me, I'm like, right, if I didn't know, I wouldn't be angry. But then on the other part of it would be like, whether I know or not, it's still happening. So I think I would rather know what's happening. George Ryan is saying, why is there a law for the boat people? So what George Ryan is saying, and I'm sorry, George, I don't have a question. I don't have an answer to this. Guys, can you hear me above that rain? Like, can you hear me above that rain? Because that rain to me is absolutely deafening. What George is talking about there? Oh, hang on. Hang on, I'm just looking now, Freddie. Right, are we talking about the like what are we talking about on that chat there, guys? Right, I'll have to look at that. I'll have to look at that another time. Right, George is saying, why is there a law on boat people? What I think George is talking about there is when the government in the UK came out and said the rights of people in the hotel trump the rights of people in Epping. Oh, not the group. Right, not the group. Right, okay. Right, Freddie, I'll have to look at that in a second. Instead of shouting Keir Starmer's a banker, we should shout at the hotel dwellers, you're fighting the Russians, they'll soon leave. Lord of Language is saying, do you think the Russians will stray into UK airspace soon? I don't. The UK is too far away from this conflict. The main areas for the Russians to concentrate on are Poland is going to be the main one. You've got all the other, the Baltic states, you've obviously got Romania. So I don't think that's a likelihood anytime soon. And the RAF, where we are in the UK, it's very difficult for that to happen because we'll see them coming from a long way away. Yes, Psychic Selena. Right, ladies and gentlemen, listen, guys, I'm going to close this down now because I cannot hear myself think. This rain is absolutely wild. I know you guys can hear me, but it's just absolutely crackers right now. Freddie, I will look at that. Video you sent me as soon as I finish this. Look, guys, the crux of this video is simple. All right, there has been a warning issued to Christians and Jews from Islamic State that the followers of Islamic State must shoot, stab, and ram people. That's not me. That's what they're saying. They are promoting lone wolf attacks. They're saying chase people into their homes, chase people on the streets, chase your prey. And we are the prey, ladies and gentlemen. We are the prey, because if we fight back, we get arrested. That's the reality. That is the reality. And until something changes, ladies and gentlemen, stay vigilant and run. I'll see you guys in the morning. I'll be back on at 10. If I'm not, I will be on. I'll be back on at 10, guys. Okay, I'll see you later.